the MVP of the Not Your Average Investor Show community, a JWB client since 2019, owns 5 rental properties with us, but our relationship means so much more than just that. Lee has been a friend, a supporter, an advocate of this show and this community long before there ever was a show and long before there ever was a community. Mr. Lee Bishop, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Greg. That's a great warming speech.
Can you share with people what your why is and what that motivating force was for you to start investing in rental income properties?
Yeah, it always makes me tear up when I think about it, but I started out thinking that I wanted my wife to be proud of me, because everybody has this retirement account that they save up for. And, you know, when we were starting out, it was always work, save, and in retirement, you can spend what you earned in your in your wonder years. And we were talking to my retirement counselor, and he said, you know, and he's a friend of mine. He said, you'll be able to live like you do now. And my wife was like, well, that's 2 weeks off. And he said, yeah, you'll be able to take 2 weeks off. And she said, but I'm going to have 365 days off. We need to do something about that. So I said, you know, hey, you know what? JWB has this turnkey rental income property. We can invest some of our principal, not have the principal erode, be able to pay off those properties in a couple of years, and then be able to get this, you know, passive income flowing and not erode our principal. And if we needed to sell the property because of some issue, you know, an emergency, we had the nest egg. And so she's still going in her traditional route until she feels more comfortable. It's been a couple of years. I don't know why she's not comfortable, but she is doing, you know, she's maintaining the Wells Fargo account as, you know, I don't know, it's her safety feature, her umbrella, but she's loving how this has turned out for us. And I said, we just refinanced. I think I was telling you, we just refinanced in December, and our cash flow went from, a little under $100 a month to about 250 or more a month for each property. So I was kind of excited about that. I mean, that means paying down these things. I said it was going to be 8 years when I first signed up. Now it's 60 months. That's a car payment.
Oh, that's awesome. Lee, would you give everybody just a little bit of background? You bought 5 rental properties with us. You started in 2019, purchased those roughly around the same time. We'll take a look at that here towards the end of the show as I give you your big reveal here. What did you do prior? Was this your very first time investing in rental properties? What did you do prior? And what helped you take that leap of faith to doing something which is unconventional like this?
Yeah. So I was an IT guy for, I don't know, 100 years, it seemed like. And I retired, and my wife said, you're not retiring, you're too young to retire. And I said, okay. And she said, let's do real estate investing. And I said, I'm not swinging a hammer. Not that I couldn't. I said, I'm not going to swing a hammer. And she said, let's see what Fortune Builders has to say about that. So we went to the Fortune Builders, sign up for that. And we said, let's get the coaching, let's get the training. They teach us how to do things. And one of the things that they showed us was how to do asset protection and passive income. And once you became, you know, successful, you had cash to invest. So you weren't being taxed on all this stuff all the time. And that all made sense to me. But as I got into the vetting out process of the passive income flow, they had a couple of people that they were talking to. You talk to the coaches, you sign up for it, you got to listen to a video. And then they say, all right, now you do your due diligence, you know? And I think at the time they had 3 people that I wanted to talk to. And I had met you at the
Ignite. I remember.
Ignite. Yeah, in 2019. And I had told you, man, I'm going to do that. But before that, I met you at one of the conferences, and I did a little client testimonial because it was November that I did, that we paid cash for the first one. It was Thanksgiving time. And it was a real easy process. The girl came to the house at my sister-in-law's house, signed a couple of pieces of paper, and I was a property owner. And because I was using cash, there wasn't a lot of documentation. And then at December, we were back up in Pennsylvania visiting my sister, and we closed on 4 more properties and used non-recourse lending on all that. And your JWT team was able to set us up with somebody that provided funding, and, you know, me using the non-recourse lending. And it said, as long as it's, you know, you have this one house that you paid cash for, we're okay with going 40% instead of 50% at the time, because I said, man, I took out $500,000. If I put more than 40% down, I got zero reserves, and I'm not going to just keep putting money into it until I see how it's going to turn out. But, this way it all worked out great. They worked with me, and, it went smoothly. Four houses at the same time was as easy as getting one, So I couldn't have asked for a nicer, smoother experience. And it really was a pleasure working with your team trying to develop those. And I really didn't, I hadn't seen the properties at that time. You had just started the virtual tours, and I said, well, let me see what the tours are. And it was kind of like the first house was a template of how they all look. So it had a different address, but it was all the same inside tour, which was fine, right? Because it's cookie cutter. They're all the same. I'm not buying it with my heart. I just want to make sure that it looks great, and functioning and in a good location. And when we drove down there in February and looked at them, I'm standing in front of the houses with my hands all waved, and my wife's taking a picture of me with the house behind me.
Right.
It was fun. I mean, it really was good. It was a great experience.
I love the tour that you guys came down on. We're taking a look at all of your 5 profit centers here. Your net rental income for your 5 properties here, $19,460. Congratulations on that. Next, we have tax savings here, and you got a big goose egg for tax savings. Lee, why do you have a goose egg for tax savings?
I'm not in a non-recourse loan. I'm not really taking advantage of any tax because it's all deferred.
It's already deferred.
All deferred.
Yeah. Saying no matter what asset you would have in that tax deferred account, you would be deferring the taxes already. We're not going to highlight specifically what rental properties does because any asset out there would have given you that tax savings. So we're not going to count that. You're already doing a great thing as far as saving on taxes because you're buying that in a solo 401k. But we're not going to juice your return on investments that way. Principal pay down, we will though. You've had $17,590 paid down of your loan by your residents. Isn't that just a beautiful thing?
It is. And the nice thing about it is it enabled me to put $40,000 down when I did the refinance because that was all reserves that had built up. So 17,590. I was just trying to see what the heck was going on for the whole year, but realistically, it was a lot more than that because I put a big chunk of change down.
Nice. Yeah. And I know your loan terms have changed as well, right?
Absolutely.
And this is assuming that your loan terms stayed the same. So that is incredible. If you're an investor out there and you're not paying attention to principal pay down, you are missing a big reason of why you should be investing in rental properties. So I hope I encourage you to stay tuned to the show to keep learning about that in these profit centers. Home price appreciation, brother. Over 5 properties, you've gained $145,000 in home price appreciation over the last 2.5 years. How does that make you feel?
That's incredible, right? I mean, that was part of the reason for refinancing because I knew the valuation was that much higher. Exactly. I was like, oh, wow. Exactly. Why wouldn't I?
And now you're engineering your own portfolio and you're saying, okay, how can I use this equity? How can I use this to help get to my goals faster, right? Equity just sitting in your property doesn't help you create passive income. There are ways to do that. Refinancing is a great way. And inflation hedging, consumer price index is 7.9% right now. That means if you are earning less than 7.9%, you are losing in your investments out there. If you have it sitting in the bank account right now and you're earning next to nothing, you are losing big time. Have to find investments that are inflation protected, that are a hedge against inflation, and rental properties is about the best one out there. But I did include one thing here, and I wanted to just show everybody how I get to these numbers. I also include the selling, holding, and closing costs. Now, I know Lee is not going to be selling these properties right now because I know what his plans are, but I wanted you all to know that I take this selling, holding, and closing costs out when calculating the return on investment, right? If you're thinking about home price appreciation and these large numbers that our clients are earning, we also have to think about what it would cost to actually dispose of the asset. And so I'm going to start sharing this because these numbers are large. And what you should take away from this is that real estate is a costly asset to sell. And this is why you need to buy and hold for an extended period of time to make sure that these 5 profit centers can have time to mature much higher than what the selling, holding, and closing costs would be. All right, Lee, with all that being said, as we're getting close to wrapping up the hour here, brother, when you made the decision to invest in those 5 rental properties with us, we told you to expect a 2.9% return on investment. You have come in at a 6.9% return on investment. We are absolutely beating expectations. We have room for upside. So thankful for your trust. How does that feel? I see a big smile on your face over there. Tell everybody what you think as far as originally your decision with JWB and how is this changing your life, man?
Well, to be honest, I'm in it for the long haul, and I plan on, like I said, this is going to be generational, an asset that I'm going to be able to turn over to my son and my nephew. And, so I want to have more than just five. So that's why I said I'm working to have 20. But the big thing is if I can just say I'm not worried about what inflation does because I got this positive cash flow coming in because this portfolio is paid for, and then I can use that money to generate more wealth and everybody's talking about going into Bitcoin and stuff like that. I have free money that I could play with eventually, right? Because this cash flow coming in, I can say, oh, I don't need that yet. So I can play in that arena and not worrying about losing money because it was money that was found. I consider you and Pablo to be friends, and we've gotten to know each other a lot closer on these shows. And I've only done a couple, but every time it's a lot of fun. I encourage people to do this because it really is not only educational. They say it's in a hot seat, but it's like you're sitting around and seeing a bunch of friends. If it wasn't for this community, I wouldn't do it. You guys make it fun, and it's fun to watch you guys interact. And it's fun, to agitate Pablo a little bit when we can, because that's always fun. But it's an informational show to be, and to have access to your, the leadership and to see what you guys are thinking. That's insightful. That, we always talk about transparency. JWB has incredible transparency, and you don't hold any punches. When people ask you questions, there's no guesswork. There's no holding back. And I just love you for it. I honestly, I'm a big proponent, big supporter. Anytime you need any help with anything, I'm going to be there for you.
I know you are. And I just want to say thank you, man. Right back at you.